Hi students, this is Suganya, Assistant Professor of MBA Department in Einstein College of Engineering. I hope you all fine and safe at home. Today we are going to see one topic in BRM, third unit. So sampling. Sampling is very important in research methodology because only according to the uh, type of sampling you are the method of sampling you are using, the error will be reduced and the results will be produced in with maximum accuracy. So sampling enables you to collect and analyze the data from a smaller portion of the population and then apply the results to the whole population. அதாவது என்னன்னா, ஒரு என்டையர் பாப்புலேஷனில் ஒரு சின்ன போர்ஷன் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் கிட்ட இருந்து மட்டும் டேட்டாவை கலெக்ட் பண்ணி அதை அனலைஸ் பண்ணி தென் அந்த ரிசல்ட்ஸை வந்து வில் அப்ளை டு த ஹோல் பாப்புலேஷன். தட் இஸ் வாட் சாம்பிளிங். ஏன் வந்து சாம்பிளிங் போகிறோம் அப்படின்னா, ஒய் சாம்பிளிங் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இட் இஸ் பிகாஸ் it is impossible to collect the data from the entire population. ஒரு population, whole population இருந்தே whatever the type of research it may be, either it is an observation or interview or survey, whatever it may be, it is highly impossible to collect the data from the entire population. That's why we are going for the technique of sampling. So sampling, and because of sampling, the researcher will complete their research faster and with the least cost they can complete the research. So sampling methods varies according to the type of the researcher. ஒரு ரிசர்ச்சர் என்ன டைப் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச் பண்ணுறாங்களோ அதை பொறுத்து அந்த டைப் ஆஃப் sampling methodologyயும் மாறும். ஸோ appropriately, so we have to collect the samples appropriately according to the type of research so that it may yield accurate results to the research. So now we are going to see the different types of sampling methods one by one. So these are all the two main different types of sampling methods are probability sampling method and non-probability sampling method. We will see everything in detail one by one. So first method is probability sampling method. So probability, as the name suggests, this probability sampling method is where the researcher give importance, that is equal, all the entire population will have equal chance for the selection. So in probability method, if there are 1,000 people, all the 1,000 members will be given equal chance for selected as a sample. So this probability sampling uses a fixed selection process for selecting the samples. So let's see the different types of probability sampling methods one by one. So first type of probability sampling method is simple random sampling. So as the name suggests, the simple random sampling is the samples are chosen randomly without having any systematic method, without following any systematic method. If you see this example, it will be so clear for you. In an organization, if there are 500 employees, if a HR manager needs to select a team of people for team building activities, so what he or she will do is, he will write all the names of 500 employees and they will put it into a bowl and they will select sample, and they will select a few samples from the bowl. So it is done simply by using the simple random sampling. So it is very easy and simple. It will never consume time and it will give equal chance for the entire population. So that is what simple random sampling. Next type is systematic sampling. So in this method, the researcher use some systematic way to select the sample. That is, the samples are chosen in some regular intervals. So in the systematic sampling, it requires some starting point of the sample and it needs some sample size and it have a repeated intervals. If you see the example, it will be so clear for you. So if there is a population of 5,000 people and if you want to select only 500 samples out of it, so you will number all the sample in the you number the entire population from 1 to 5000. You number all this from 1 to 5000, then that is the total. You need a size of the, so sample size is 5000. So to get that repeated number, you have to divide the total population by sample size. From that you will get a number 10. So you will choose every 10th person from that particular population. That is what some systematic method is chosen, used to select the sample. Next method is stratified random sampling. In this method, the population is divided into small groups that don't overlaps each other. So that small groups, they won't overlap each other. They will be divided into so many smaller groups, and it represents the entire population. And then from these groups are organized, and then the samples are drawn from each group. Okay, so here if you see the example, it will be so clear for you. So if you take that example, if a researcher want to analyze the characteristics of a people belonging to different annual income. So each people will be having different annual income. The researcher need to analyze the characteristics of those people. So we have to categorize the people according to their income. So the people with the income less than 20,000, from 20,000 to 30,000 one category, 30,000 to 40,000 one category, 41,000 to 50,000 one category. Then we have to uh, analyze, we have to select sample from each groups, and we have to observe to draw conclusion of which income strata have the which characteristics. Okay, that is what stratified random sampling. The next probability sampling is cluster sampling. So in the cluster sampling, the entire population is divided into sections or cluster that represents the population. So in this cluster sampling, the clusters are divided on the basis of demographic parameters such as age, location, sex, etc. Then from so this method will makes the research easier, and they will do the research simply and easily. If you see the example, if the government of United States wishes to evaluate the number of migrants living in the mainlands, so first what they will do is they will divide the US mainlands into different clusters like California, Texas, Florida, etc. And then they will collect samples or survey each group differently to know the migrants data. So if you see the difference between the stratified random sampling, there the groups are divided according to without divided into smaller groups depending upon some other criteria. Here it is chosen the groups are divided according to the demographic parameters. So that's all about probability sampling method. The uses of probability sampling method are, it reduces the sampling bias since it is giving equal chance of selection. All the entire population are given equal chance of selection, so there is no chance of getting bias, and it uses the diversified populations, and moreover the uh, accuracy of the results is more when compared to non-probability sampling methods. So next type is non-probability sampling method. In this non-probability sampling method, it is just opposite to the probability sampling method. Here the entire population was not given equal chances. So it is based on the researcher's sample selection capabilities. So it is also not using any fixed selection process. So it is moreover it is based upon the types of research and the researcher's capability. Totally depends upon the researcher's capability. So because of it, there is sometimes it may lead to skewed results. It it may not be totally representing the desired population. There may be some error, there is possibility of getting some errors also. It may deviate the directions or the directions of the research sometimes, since it is totally depend upon the capacity of the researcher. So first method of non-probabilistic sampling technique is convenience sampling. This method depends, this convenience, as the name suggests, this method depends on the ease of accessing to the subject. That is how easily the researcher can access the subject. So they will select those as their samples. Moreover, in this type of research, the researcher have no authority to select their samples. So they have to select the samples according to their convenience. It is used when there is no time, and when there are time and cost limits in the selections of the feedback. If you want to give, so for example, if you see the example, it will be clear. Example, the startups or NGOs usually conduct convenience sampling at the malls to distribute their leaflets of upcoming events or promotions of promotion, any promotional activities. So they cannot choose their samples. They may stand at the entrance of the mall and they will distribute their leaves. That's all about convenience sampling. The next one is judgmental sampling. So in this method of judgmental sampling, the samples are selected by the researcher or by some experts on his or her own judgments or the opinions of the experts. So it is extremely highly dependent on the knowledge of the researcher. So there may be so since it depends upon the knowledge of the researcher, based on the knowledge of the researcher, there may be a chance of getting errors because of it varies from person to, the judgment varies from, opinion and judgments differ from person to person. For instance, uh, if you want to, if a researcher wants to understand the thought process of the people who are interested in studying for their master degrees, so first point is they will come from the, they will have a they will frame a hypothesis like people those who are interested to, why people are going for higher studies, or because of they need to improve their knowledge. Sometimes they want to improve their knowledge, or sometimes they are forced to do in their organization. So this judgment or opinion varies according to the researcher. So then they will, from that aspects they will start doing the research. Next type is a snowball sampling. So snowball sampling is a sampling method. It is used in studies which need to be carried out to understand the subject which is difficult to trace. Actually, if the subject is difficult to, at that point they will go for the snowball sampling. It is used when the topic is highly sensitive and not open to the discussion. For example, if we want to collect the number of HIV patients in a particular state or a country, it is very difficult, or it is highly sensitive and not open for discussion. So what researcher will do is they will use snowball technique from the reference of one people to the other people. ஒருத்தருக்கு ஏற்கனவே ஒருத்தங்க கிட்ட தெரிஞ்சு அவங்களுக்கு அவங்க மூலமா இன்னொருத்தங்க, அவங்க மூலமா இன்னொருத்தங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஒருத்தர்கிட்ட இருந்து அப்படியே கலெக்ட் பண்ணுறது தான் ஸ்னோபால் டெக்னிக். வில் கோ, தட் இஸ் வாட் ஸ்னோபால் டெக்னிக். நெக்ஸ்ட் டைப் இஸ் கோட்டா சாம்பிளிங். ஸோ கோட்டா சாம்பிளிங் it is based on a preset standards. For example, இப்போ ஒரு காலேஜில் வந்து சீட் கிடைக்கணும் அப்படின்னா அது வந்து கோட்டா சாம்பிளிங் இதில் தான். இப்போ வந்து இஃப் யூ கெட் மோர் தென் 80% யூ வில் பி கெட் பிளேஸ்ட் இன் இந்த ஒரு ஜிசிடிலையோ இல்லை வேறு ஏதாவது காலேஜில் உங்களுக்கு சீட் கிடைக்கணும் அப்படின்னா, இஃப் யூ கெட் மோர் தென் 90% யூ வில் பி கெட் சீட்ஸ் இன் திஸ் அந்த மாதிரி. இதை வந்து கோட்டா சாம்பிளிங். தேர் யூ செட் அ ப்ரீ செட்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்ஸ். இல்லை இப்போ டிஎன்பிசி எக்ஸாம்பிள் இவ்வளோ மார்க்குக்கு மேலே வாங்கிட்டீங்கன்னா, கண்டிப்பாக அவ்வளோ மார்க்குக்கு மேலே வாங்கினீங்கன்னா மட்டும்தான் யூ வில் கெட் பிளேஸ்ட், யூ வில் கெட் ஜாப். அதுதான் வந்து கோட்டா சாம்பிளிங். ஸோ தட்ஸ் ஆல் அபவுட் probability and non-probability sampling methods. So this non-probability sampling method is totally for hypothesis. We will frame the hypothesis. The research, it depends upon the researcher's perspective. The researcher will frame the hypothesis, and then they will go for the collecting the samples. It is based on the capacity and the researcher's mindset, and it is mostly used in the exploratory research, that is new research, something which doesn't have any secondary data to perform. The researcher needs to collect primary data. This non probability sampling is the apt sampling method. Then this non probability sampling method is used where there is a budget and time constraint is more. So the researcher will come to the conclusion with the less time and with the less budget. So thank you students for watching this topic. Thank you so much.